Hey guys, Dr. Ross here from Fit for Life Physical Therapy. Today I want to take a couple minutes, talk about the lunge position. I've had a couple questions over the last month or two about how to execute the lunge and what do I do, what modifications can I make if I have knee pain. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the lunge just because it does create knee pain, low back pain. I'm a huge fan of it. I think everyone should be able to do it. If you watch kids and how they develop with our neurodevelopmental sequence and how they get on and off the ground, they will lunge. So it's something that we should be able to do. It's something that we tend to get away from as we age. So that's why it's important to really keep up with the movement pattern in general. And as long as we do it correctly, it's not going to be detrimental to our backs or our knees or whatever other excuses people tend to come up with. So, up on the whiteboard, I have two figures already drawn out, really looking at a good position compared to a not so good position. Part of the problem is, and let's talk about the not good first, individuals tend to take a stride that's too narrow. So part of the problem is with that, it decreases your base of support. So that's going to shove your knee forward, and that increases a lot of the pain right through the knee joint. So oftentimes people will say, well, I feel it in the kneecap. Well, if I decrease this angle here, so it's the closing angle of the knee, if I close that off too much, and I also close off this angle too much, that causes too much force. So we're having excessive pull at the quadriceps muscle, the rectus femoris, and then we're also seeing compression of the kneecap into the joint. So basically you're just taking the kneecap, doing this, and then you're bending and extending the knee. So that's going to cause pain and irritation over time if not corrected. The other compensation that I'll tend to see is actually from the back knee. Oftentimes people will get into this position, but instead of using their front leg to lift them back up, they actually shift their weight backwards onto this leg and then they catapult forward. So instead of this leg being problematic, the back knee actually becomes problematic as well. It's kind of the same concept. You're stretching out the rectus femoris, it's compressing the kneecap, and we have to now create propulsion off of that back leg now to get you into that standing position. So whether you're getting back to neutral or you're going into that walking position. For this individual, all we would need to do is just bring the foot forward. So drop the foot down, so now we're more at that 90-degree angle position, and just keep the weight shift forward onto the front leg. Now, some people, you'll hear this referred to as a split squat. It's splitting hairs. I don't care what you call it. I call it a lunge. There's a stationary lunge or a split squat. Then there's walking lunges, forward lunges, reverse lunges, side lunges. So the concept's going to be the same for all of them. Now, with a good lunge position, again, we have a nice wide base of support. From here, we have relative 90-degree angles. The body likes 90-degree angles. It sets the body up into a more biomechanically correct position at this point, and we're able to absorb shock. And really, all I'm trying to do is just drop my body weight straight down in between my feet. Most of my weight, probably 75% of my weight or more, is on that front leg. So right through here, I'm using my quadricep and my glutes to get me back to standing. This back leg is really just a stabilizer. It shouldn't do any lifting at that point. We have to remember that as the knee extends, so as the knee straightens, it's called extension, I need the hip to get back under me as well. So as the knee wants to go this way, I need the hip to come up and go this way now, so that I can actually stand in a vertical position. And it's the same concept again, whether I'm doing more of a walking lunge or whether I'm doing more of a stationary lunge, reverse lunge, and we'll talk about those in just a minute. So again, lots of issues when people set up this way. I know there's a lot of controversy about kind of what angle the back should be in, but as long as we can drop straight down from the line of gravity, we tend to do quite well. We want to make sure that we avoid momentum too, which we'll talk about in just a minute. All right, so I'm going to show you guys a demonstration of the lunges that we talked about that are not so good. So it's going to be with a narrow base of support, not a lot of space between my feet, and then also of the person who likes to catapult backwards. So as you'll see, I'm doing lunges in jeans. I don't have on gym pants today, but if I can lunge in jeans, then I can lunge in anything. So just remember that. Now, for the individual who takes a narrow stance, they're generally going to have more of a knee angle here. They're going to want to drop down their knee, but because they can't get out in front of themselves, they end up leaning forward and the back heel comes off the ground. Or they'll end up pitching too far forward. For these individuals, I'll just have them lengthen their stride a little bit more and drop their body weight straight down. Now we're getting more of that 90-degree position that we talked about. For the person who catapults, they'll stay on their back leg, so they shift, and then they use the back leg to push themselves up. So all their weight is in their back leg. The front leg is not actually doing what they're supposed to. So for the person with that narrow stance, it's usually front knee pain. For the catapulter, usually it's going to be back knee pain. Now, I always tell the patients to make sure you stay upright. That's really the big key. So once I'm in my position, I'm taking a longer stride, and I have short legs, so I'm taking a longer stride because when I drop down, I want to be able to drop my knees straight to this position. So 90 degrees at the ankle, 90 degrees at the back knee, relative 90 degrees at the back ankle. The toes are tucked under me. But as I go to get back up, my front leg is doing all the work for me. If I need to lean a little bit, then it's going to throw off that center of gravity. So as I shift my weight, I'm not leaning my trunk, I'm shifting my weight. I'm going to now put the stress on this front leg to pick me back up. So that's more of a stationary lunge where I'm just going up and down. If I'm doing a backwards lunge or a reverse lunge, which is actually safer for our knees, stresses more balance, but safer for our knees because we don't have any translation forward, I'm going to now step backwards, feel the ground, drop, and use the front leg to lift me back up. It's really no different if I have a forward lunge. I really want to break it into two steps where it's step, drop, and then advance. So it'd be more of a walking lunge. And again, we don't need to make this any more difficult than it needs to be, but the biggest mistake that I'll see is that people will use momentum. So they'll want to hit the ground and push right back up, and then they're just pivoting off of their back leg, where we actually want to slow down the movement, control it, and be able to use our muscle force to get us back up. So again, it's step, drop, push, and that's where our lunge comes from. So if we needed to modify it, we can always have individuals limit the range of motion that they're working at. So instead of going all the way down, maybe they're coming at 50% of the range. They can hold on to the walls if they want to try to regain some of the balance. But lunges are very safe. It's like I always say, running's not bad for us. Bad running is bad for us. Squatting is not bad for us. Bad squatting is bad for us. Lunging is not bad for us. Bad lunging is bad for us. So above all, remember your form, focus on the strength. If you have aches or pains, that shouldn't be the norm. So talk to someone, try to get the form corrected, and at the end of the day, if you have any questions, help me out and we'll get you back to where you need to be. Thanks.